Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, Ollie doesn't do solar astrophotography. So what's he doing with a solar filter in this video? So the truth about it is that we have had clouds here in Australia, down under, for weeks now. We've got a lot of flooding and the clouds and the rain just keep coming. So I've had very little time to actually do any deep sky astrophotography, which got me to thinking, look, we are getting occasional days at least where we're getting some sunshine during the day. I don't have a solar scope, so I thought, you know, I'm not really willing to make that commitment, at least yet, to a solar scope before I know if I'm even remotely interested in it. So what I did is I did a bit of research and I found these guys. I'll put it up to the camera. So these are the Baader or the Baader solar filters. I'll show you the box like that. So they come in a few different types. Obviously they come in a range of sizes for the various, they come in various sizes depending on your kit and what you're going to put it on, what size telescope. Now, like I said, there's a few different types of these. This one is the ASTF, which basically just stands for Astro Solar Telescope Filter. Now, all it really comes with is this plastic ring, which I'm pretty sure is made of, it's like a coated aluminium, I think. Yeah, this ring, I think aluminium ring, I think, on the outside. Then on the inside is this like sort of plastic composite ring which is cemented on, and then the solar filter is sort of squashed there in between, or the film of the solar filter, and then you get these little clamp things around the outside which I've attached on. So all this comes with it. You don't really have to buy anything else unless you want to. It does come, I'll just show you quickly, it does come with these different size clips, so these narrower ones if you want to. And the way that you attach these is really easy. Basically, there's just these slots. I'll show you against the GoPro. There's just these slots in here, and you pick whichever one of these slotted holes that you want to use. So there's one that's a bit further away towards the edge. There's one that's closer in. So, you know, whichever one fits best for your telescope diameter, because it's obviously going to go, you know, on your dew shield. And then you just fit these little plastic sort of rubber bungs on the outside, and these are obviously just going to clamp onto the dew shield of your telescope. So when you actually get these onto the dew shield, what you can do is it does supply you with these little like sort of strips here, and you can attach these and then Velcro them to the actual telescope dew shield itself. Now for me, I'm not going to do that because I think over time they're going to probably come off, and they're also, I don't really want these little sticky Velcro clips on my dew shield. So what I'll probably do is I'll just put a band around these to make them grip onto the actual dew shield quite strongly. I'll just put I've got like a big Velcro band that I can stick around. So that will do. Now in terms of what is this made of? Because I had no idea. Like I said, I've not really done any solar. This is the first time I've used one of these, but they got pretty decent reviews. It basically says the ATSF filter features a temperature compensated cell. The film itself is repeatedly cemented onto an injection molded ring, which I'm guessing is this plastic ring here, whereas the substrate of that ring has the same thermal expansion coefficient as the astro filter material itself. Okay. This free-floating film carrier ring is held onto the aluminium frame, which would be this white bit, with the help of another holding ring made of fiber reinforced plastic. Okay, for a maximum of security against breaking of the cell. This temperature compensated cell enables the Astro Solar Filter material to retain its excellent optical quality at any temperature, be it 30 degrees to plus 50. And then it just tells you it comes with the what it calls the centering bolts. So that's what those rubber things were that I've showed you, to cover a wide range of tube diameters. It's got a few, obviously it's got a few safety things on that you need to be aware of there. It is apparently coated on both sides of the film. And it also says it's also quality inspected by skilled members of our staff. I guess this is things, you know, that's important when you put in something on the front of your expensive telescope. You want to be assured that it's not going to, that it's actually going to do what it's supposed to do. Each bolt features injection molded rubber grip faces. And I did read somewhere that under maintenance that you can actually, somewhere I'm pretty sure it said that you can actually replace the film in these. So I think you can it's got some Phillips head screwdrivers on this plastic ring here. So I believe that you can actually replace the film in this if it gets, you know, badly damaged or anything. It does have some information here about if you get tiny pinhole pricks that you can use like a black pen or something like that for just very small ones. So anyway, that's basically everything there. It came well packaged, a plastic bag and obviously some cardboard, and then so the next step for me is to try and get some sunshine today, and I'm hoping, especially in the next hour or two, I'm hoping we're going to get a break in sunshine. So I've got my ASI 482 camera here, which has just been sat on a shelf lately, so I'm going to use this. It's going to be a bit undersampled for my native focal length, which is about 400. So I might try it with a Barlow on as well and see how I go. Be interesting. All I'm really looking for today is to test it, and I'll be happy if I can get some sort of focused image of the sun or the outsides of the sun. So that's really all I'm hoping for today. So I think without further ado, let's get this mounted on my telescope. Let's get my camera set up on the telescope, and let's get the whole thing outside and see if we can actually find the sun. All right, let's get this on. Okay, let's get this filter on. So let's put that around first. It's nice and snug. And then it's going to put our Velcro band around, keep it a bit more secure. So this doesn't come with it. This is my own. Okay, perfect. It's nice and tight now. All right, it's pretty good. All right, so we're in Stellarium now. I'm gonna select to connect my telescope. That's all good, that's connected. Now, obviously we want the sun. Let's say current object, and let's slew to the sun and see how we go. Now we've got Stellarium up here. So let's connect to our camera over there. I imagine we're going to need this extremely low. Anyway, let's do our slew first to our target. So that's slewing. I'm just going to check how that's looking. Alright, so let's go to sharp cap now. So I can sort of see it's definitely brighter over one side. You can see there's definitely some clouds. There's a bit of haze across it at the moment. So look, we're probably not going to do amazing, but let's have a go anyway. Okay. Got to find it now. I need to move up my... Nope. Oh, here we go. This is looking good. Okay. Alright, wow. Now I've got no idea what I'm doing at this stage, but... So I think that's the haze that's running over it currently. Now I know I'm probably going to be slightly out of focus at this point. So just look at EQ mod, I've got it on. Guess I can change it to solar. I'm not sure what that... It was looking alright on sidereal, but I'll change it to solar. I need to look at... Let's have a look at our focus here. So let me connect our ZWO focuser. That's a good point. I don't have my focuser connected. So I'm going to need to just go and remedy that. Okay, so my focuser should be connected now. Let's see. There we go, that's better. Now let's just have a play with our focus for a second. Okay, that's definitely gone further out. Ooh, that looks a bit sharper. Now then. Okay, you can see our histogram controls here. I'm just wondering what we can actually, what we can do, what we can show. That's definitely looking a little bit better. Pull my gain right down to 0. Oh, that looks pretty cool. And what zoom have we got it at? I gotta say that looks pretty cool. I know it's not much, but just to be able to see it like that is really cool. So that's with an auto stretch on it. Okay. Like I say, I really don't know a lot about what I'm doing here, but still. Just playing with my histogram a little bit. I do know there's some haze, or there's quite a bit of haze in front of the sun at the moment. Definitely a few things passing over there. Wow, what are they? You can see the haze look there that's passing over it. So I've got my exposure down as low as it's going to go on this camera. Alright guys, so I've been playing with this for a little while now. Let's see, all I've changed is I've changed my capture area or my region of interest a little bit. I might just put it up to 150% so we can see it a little bit clearer. I've got it sort of zoomed in and I got it as, you know, as in focus as I thought I could get it. So my gain's right down to 0. My exposure's down as low as it can go. And then you can sort of play, we can play with some other, like you can sort of, I guess in terms of, if we look at where my histogram is, it's probably the other, you know, like I said, I don't really know much about. You can see that's bringing in, I can see a bit more sort of detail now, even though the edges are sort of, yeah, so. Okay, and I guess, so of course I've got it in this sort of colour at the moment, so I guess what we could do is maybe look at if we just sort of temporarily, because this is a red-green, this is an RGB camera, full one-shot colour, what we could do is just maybe play, just sort of play with the colours a bit so we can make it look a bit more like what we'd expect. Pull back on the blue a little bit. You can see a few things travelling across the front of the sun here. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like I said, I think for, you know, I think for just 120 bucks of a filter. Here we go, and if we pull the red in like that, I actually think that's kind of looking pretty cool. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of, kind of see the bit of detail now that you can actually pull out. You can see a bit of detail down here, and obviously you got these few spots. There's not a lot that, I don't know if it's just that there's not a lot going on today, but I'm pretty happy with that as a first pop. Just being able to see that, I think is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm actually quite happy with that. So yeah, I'm not too phased about, I'm not going to be too phased this time about sort of worrying too much about, you know, how well I can process them and stuff. But I might just take a few frames anyway. Let's maybe do start a capture. Number of frames. What are we doing? 70 frames per second. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it for let's just do it for a time limit. Let's just maybe get I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'll just grab 1,000 frames for now. And let's just go start. There we go. So that's let's save that as an SER file for us. Alright guys, so I did manage to take that video. I played around with it a little bit yesterday, so it's the following day now. It really wasn't too tricky. I mean, I didn't get huge amounts of detail on it. I would say my image was probably a bit overexposed as well, so maybe I need to play around with some settings next time, although I did have my exposure time down to the minimum and I had my gain to 0. But anyway, that's the video file there that we got out of SharpCap. So we got our video. I mean, even that actually I'm pretty happy with, just to be playing, you know, and grabbing any sort of image of the sun. I was pretty happy with. So anything from here really is a bonus. And then I went through, you know, the usual sort of steps that you go through. So for those of you, if you're new to sort of planetary or anything like solar, often it's a case of taking your video file, using a program like AutoStacker, and then stacking as many frames as you can out of that video, as many of the good frames, and coming out with a single image. You then can take that image into a program such as Registax, and then you can work on that image to try and bring out more of the detail using some of the tools in there like wavelets and stuff. And then once you've got that image, and don't be too intimidated, because you know that doesn't take as long as you might think, and there's plenty of tutorials out there for how to use those two programs, so you can literally get through those couple of programs in like, you know, 15-20 minutes if you want. And then take the image finally into Photoshop and play around with the usual things, you know. So I played around with camera raw sliders, clarity, dehazing, white balance, all those kinds of things. Play with your colors a bit, curves if you want to, and just try and bring out some more of that sort of detail, or enhance those colors a little bit of the sun. So in terms of, one thing to mention of sampling, this was the combination that I used. And for those of you getting into this kind of thing, these are a good way to start off looking for a little planetary camera that you could use for something like solar imaging, because you want to make sure that you're getting reasonably good sampling, taking into account the focal length of your telescope and the camera that you're using. So here you can see you've got drop downs, you can select or you can type in your telescope focal length, and with the camera again you can use a drop down for the popular cameras, or you can type it all in yourself. So you can see my combination that I was using is fairly not ideal really for this. I'm, you know, undersampled, my pixel sizes are very big. So for next time I'll probably use something like my little 120 guide camera and have a play with that. You can see there, look, that the 120 is a better sort of sampling ratio. Although I need to look, I'm not sure what the frame rate is on the little 120 guide camera. But anyway, something to consider there for next time. And there's always something to consider for next time, isn't there? So that's one thing to think about, I guess. If you're starting off, just, you know, use one of these types of calculators to get your right planetary camera. And yeah, going through that process of using those software tools. AutoStacker and Registax is completely free, by the way. Obviously Photoshop isn't, but there are other programs out there that you can do that. And let's have a look what we actually came up with. So I'm pretty sure this is what we got. I'm pretty sure this is what we ended up with out of, I think, just Registax. So it didn't look too amazing, as you can see there. I mean, it's nice to see. I mean, amazing for a first try. For me, I was still pretty darn pleased with it. And then I think I did a first test. So this was like my first sort of bit of a test at it. And you know, I was pretty happy with that. I was starting to get a bit nicer color. You can see these black spots. I think again for next time it will be nice to maybe really overexpose the image and see if I can bring out any of those flares on the outside when you get some activity with the sun, or maybe crop in really close to a particular region, use a smaller region of interest and try and get in a bit closer. And then I played with it for a little while again in Photoshop, and this is basically our final version here. So, you know, for a first go, I reckon, if you're considering it, I think those filters, obviously I got the 80mm version, which was like $100 and odd. I'm sure they go up in increments, but I think if it's something that you're thinking about and you're getting a lot of cloudy days like me,
I think that's pretty cool, really, for something that you can just put on the front of your telescope and have a little bit of a play with. So look, one thing I'd like to hear is you guys who are actually into this type of imaging. If you've got any tips, any hints and tips, because I'm sure there's lots I don't know about solar imaging. So if you've got any suggestions on things I might try, or little ways of sort of enhancing the clarity or detail, anything anyway, please leave me a comment and I'll be very interested to read those. But I think that's gone on long enough. I'm sorry this video ended up this long. It wasn't my intention to make it this long. But and one more thing, and it's still going on. I do know that you can take flats for solar imaging, so that's something as well I'll consider again for next time, because there's no flats or calibration frames taken for this. But without further ado, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and a subscribe maybe if you enjoy the content, and I hope you guys are getting some clear skies, and I will see you all on the next video. So I'll catch you later.